Hey, this is Ryan Deiss again, and welcome to the final lesson in the Double Your Sales class. In this one, I'm going to show you how to use some what we call invisible selling strategies, some invisible selling methods to actually bring people back, to get the people who maybe they came, maybe they expressed interest, they raised their hand and said, yeah, I might be interested in that, but they didn't buy, to come back and buy. More importantly, how to get the people who did buy to come back and buy more. This one's all about increasing the frequency of purchase, and the way that we're going to do that is through the deployment of a return path. A return path. As the name would suggest, this is all about getting people who came to come back again like a boomerang. And the reason we need this is simple, right? You know this. I don't have to tell you this. The fact is, most sales simply don't occur on the first visit. In fact, if you've heard the stats from direct selling, basically for decades, it's been, you need to follow up at least 7 times or 10 times or 12 times. There's all these numbers out there, and they're all more than one, okay? So right now, if you're only following up once, if you're only giving people one opportunity to buy and you're not asking them to come back again and again and again, I can promise you, you're leaving the vast majority of sales and money on the table. So we want to do this. We understand this. We understand that most sales won't occur on the first visit, and that's why you got to follow up. And I'm not telling you anything yet that you don't know, right? You know this. And it's why, in fact, that we were so careful to optimize the lead magnet back in step 2. Remember that? That's why we said we got to get you more leads. We have to get you more leads. But what's the point of having a whole lot of leads if you're not going to follow up? So that's what we're talking about here. But one thing I want to make clear, it's not just email. Okay, it's not just email. It's not even just making outbound phone calls. That's an aspect of the return path. Heck, going and attending industry events is an aspect of the return path. Going out there to trade shows, saying, hi, nice to meet you, and meeting your customers face to face. Those are all parts of a return path, right? When most people think about follow-up today, this is what they think of. They think about email, and we're going to talk a lot about email, but I also want to point out these are exit offers. Have you ever been to a web page and when you went to leave, a pop-up appeared as you were leaving, either, offering a lead magnet, or maybe it was pointing out a bonus that you might have missed, or letting you know that there's a sale going on, or something like that, right? That's a type of return path, getting people who are leaving or who are about to leave to come back, right? Exit offers. Exit offers are a type of return path, and something, if you're not doing right now, this is a way to really get a lot more sales from the traffic that you're already getting. Same with retargeting. If you're not familiar with retargeting, this is where somebody comes to your website, right? Internet user comes to your website, and then when they leave, they actually start seeing your ads follow them all over the internet. Have you ever experienced this as a user, right? You go to a website and now all of a sudden you just happen to be seeing ads for that particular website? Well, it's not coincidence, right? That's retargeting. You came to a website, and when you arrived at that website, a little cookie was set, a little tracking pixel. And so when you go around, whether it's Facebook or Google or any other site in their network, then ads for that site can appear. That's retargeting, and it's wonderful. It's awesome. Retargeting is great. We'll have some information on this page where, if you're really excited about retargeting, where you can go and you can learn a little bit more and get more knowledge and info about retargeting, because it really is a powerful return path traffic strategy. But since this is pretty specialized, since this is pretty technical, I really want to spend most of our time together talking about automated email follow-up, because nothing is as effective at increasing the frequency of purchase than having an automated email follow-up system in place. But the question a lot of people ask is, that sounds great, but how do you do it? How do you do it? Do I get people on my list, and all of a sudden everybody's going to get put in like this giant year-long, 2-year-long autoresponder series? Do I just put people on my list and I just start sending them emails at random? How do you do it? What's the process in place that will take people through the prospect customer lifecycle, that will acknowledge when they're new and talk to them in a certain way, that when they raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in that, you can talk to them about that, that when, frankly, they're becoming disinterested in everything, you can shake them and say, hey, what, remember me, right? How do you do that? How do you do that? Well, the answer is you need one of these. This is a machine. This is a follow-up machine. This is a process that we've developed here at Digital Marketer that works amazingly well at automating and really making hands-free the process of customer and prospect follow-up. So this is what I want to show you. I want to show you how this machine works. I want to show you the different phases that go into it and how you can implement one in your own business. So I want to say first off, a finished machine has 5 parts, okay? 5 parts that go into the machine. The first part is what we call the indoctrination series, all right? So I want you to imagine, look at this flow chart. You have leads that come in. Like, let's assume that this is a landing page, right? So the leads come into a landing page, or maybe they're calling in, to your office, and that's how you're getting their contact information. Maybe they're just dropping their business card in a fishbowl at a restaurant or something like that, right? The point is, you're getting a new lead, right? Now, if that lead is brand new, if they're brand new to you, to your company, and to your brand. So they're not opting in again. They're not opting in for something different. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they bought this and you haven't heard from them. Now they're buying something else. No. This is a brand spanking new lead. Brand new. They need to go through an indoctrination series. They need to be indoctrinated to you and to your brand. And the way that this indoctrination series works is it's a 3 email series. Okay? 3 emails. And the job is simple. It's designed to turn strangers into friends. I want you to think about the indoctrination series kind of like a first date. All right? So say you're a guy, you convince a girl to go out on a date with you. That very first date, that's your indoctrination series. So the first thing that you want to do in your indoctrination series is you're going to ask them, the very first thing that you're going to do is this weird thing called saying, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm so glad you're here." So you want to send what we call the perfect welcome mail. The perfect welcome mail. And the perfect welcome mail is just that. It does what our moms told us to do, forever. Say please and thank you, right? So when somebody does sign up, when they get on your list, you want to send them a welcome mail that says, "Hi, welcome. I'm so glad you're here." How many lists, how many newsletters, how many email lists are you on where the welcome email was just confirmed, you're now subscribed, right? That's kind of weird. Right? That's really weird. I mean, again, go back to the dating and relationship analogy. If you did get somebody to agree to go on a date with you, you wouldn't call them up the next day and be like, "I'm just calling to confirm that we are in fact having a date tomorrow evening at 7:30 at this Italian restaurant." You wouldn't do that. That's called freaking weird, right? What you might do is you might say, "Hey, I just wanted to follow up. I'm really excited about hanging out with you, and I'll pick you up at 7, right?" So you would say, "Thank you, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we're going to be going out," and then you would tell them, "Here's what to expect." Okay, here's what to expect. So the perfect email, first it says hello and welcome. Then it's here's what to expect. What you can expect now that you're on this list is we're going to send out a weekly newsletter. We're going to be communicating from time to time. Whatever you're going to do, tell them. At Digital Marketer, we email our list every single day. Every single day. And a lot of people say, "Wow, you email your list a lot. Don't they get upset?" No, because we tell them, "Welcome to Digital Marketer. We're going to email you every single day." They have an opportunity in this initial welcome mail in the indoctrination series to opt out and say, "That's not my thing. I'm not that interested in it." Right? I mean, that's kind of thing. So tell them that, and then you also say, you should whitelist us. Make sure that you whitelist our email, right? Meaning, go in there, and if we showed up check your spam folder. If we showed up in there, please move us over. If we weren't in your priority inbox, move us into your priority inbox, right? So you want to tell them to do all these things. Then in emails 2 and 3, you want to do one of 2 things. You either want to show them your best stuff, or you want to bounce them around and run what we call a bonding campaign, all right? So in a best of series, this is where if you have a blog, if you have some content, you're going to tell them, and again, we're now message number 2 in the indoctrination. So message number 1 was that perfect welcome mail. "I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Please whitelist us. Here's what you can expect." Right? Message number 2 is, "Hey, again, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Since you're new, I wanted to show you this. It's out of all the blog posts we've ever written, this one is our most popular." Okay, so you're going to send them to your favorite blog post. And this is important because if you're producing content on a regular basis, it could be that some of your best content's a year or 2 years old. And if they're brand new on your list, they're not going to see any of that stuff. So this is where we're going to break out the best stuff campaign. Again, going back to the first date, this is where you're going to tell your funniest jokes, your best stories, things like that. Now, what if you don't have any content, right? What if you don't have any content? Well, it's simple. You can bounce them around. You can say, go check out this YouTube video over here. I really think it was great. I really found it inspirational. Or go check out this article over here. You don't have to have produced the content. It just has to be meaningful to you, and you have to believe that it's going to be meaningful to your prospect. You know, I mean, if you've got a really great friend and you find that they're really interested in schnauzers, right, or something like that, and you happen to see an article in the newspaper about schnauzers, you know, if you rip out that article and you go and take it to them and you hand it to them, they're going to thank you for giving them the article. They're not going to write the author of the Schnauzer letter and tell them, hey, thank you so much for writing it. No, they're going to thank you because you sent it to them. Same thing here. So that's why I want to bounce them around. Hey, go check out this. Go check out this. I really like this. Not only are you sharing a little bit of yourself and a little bit of what you're interested in, you're also getting compliance. Okay, I'm going to say that again. You're also getting compliance. So here in this indoctrination series, if you're telling them, go look at this, go look at this, go look at this, and they do it, now obviously you must be an authority. You must be an authority because you told them they should do something and they did it. And if they got value from that action, you know what? They're going to want to do it again. So in a perfect world, your best of stuff is your own stuff, right? It's your jokes. But just like on a first date, if you don't have any funny jokes, you say, hey, I heard a joke the other day. Can I tell it to you? If they laugh, they're happy for you, right? If not, you bounce them around in what we call a bonding campaign. And a bonding campaign is just about that. Get them to bounce around, look at the stuff that you think is interesting and that you think that they'll think is interesting as well. And you can also get a little personal, right? This is the time where if you're a family person and you like showing pics of your kids, show some pics of your kids in this indoctrination series. If you have a business, you're more B2B, take a picture inside your office. You know, take a picture of the folks that are on your team, you know, waving and saying thank you, maybe holding up a sign that says welcome or something like that, right? Get a little personal. Let them see a little bit about who you are. That's what the indoctrination campaign is all about. It's about them getting to know you, okay? It's about them getting to know a little bit more about you. This is the first date. And again, it's only about 3 emails long. Just 3 emails, 3 days in a row, boom, 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 okay? Got it? That's the indoctrination campaign. That's phase 1. This is where all new leads go in. But what if they're not new? Maybe somebody raised their hand and said, yeah, hey, I'm interested in this because they were opting in for a lead magnet. Now I want you to go back and I want you to remember what we talked about in the lesson we were showing you how to optimize your lead magnet. Remember what I said was the most important concept when it comes to optimizing your lead magnet. Do you remember what it is? I want to pause and see because I'm going to tell you the answer in just a second. It started with an S. The word started with an S. What was the most important thing that you had to do when it came to the optimization of your lead magnet? It started with an S. Okay, you got it? All right, I'll go ahead and tell you. Specificity. You must be specific. Specific to the topic, specific to the concept, specific to the desired end result. Do you remember that? So if you have a lead magnet that is specific, then you know what their specific interest is. You know what their specific, if you have a broad-based lead magnet that's like, hey, opt in for this lead magnet because it'll show you how to do stuff better and stuff, right? You don't know what they're actually interested in, right? You don't know, but if your lead magnet is specific, then you can be specific too when it comes to the second phase, which is the engagement series, okay? The engagement series. So they've gone through the indoctrination. They know who you are and what you're about. Or maybe they've been on your list and they already do, but now they raised their hand and they said, I want that specific lead magnet that's about that specific topic. When they do that, you can now use what we call engagement-based segmentation to move them off onto another sublist. So we call this interest-based follow-up. And note, we say it's lead magnet-centric. Okay, lead magnet centric. That's because if you know what they're interested in, if you know the topic that they're interested in, then you can talk to them about that one thing. So let's say I've got I'm a golf instructor, or maybe I have a golf equipment company, right? Either way, I could put out a lead magnet on how to never 3-putt again. Now, if you're not a golfer, maybe you don't know what a 3-putt is, but if you're a golfer, you absolutely know what a 3-putt is, and you'd prefer to not have to do it again. You know, to get on the green, putt, putt, putt. Because the way golf should work, by the way, just a quick aside, you should be able to drive it off the tee, then hit it on the green, and then putt it in 2 tries. And that's like how it's supposed to work. It's never how it actually works, but presumably that's how it's supposed to work. So if I'm a golf instructor, or if I am a golf store owner, I own a golf shop, right? And I put out this report on how to never hit a 3-putt again. You know, this simple technique that'll make sure that you 1 or 2 putt all your putts forever. Now, if I opt into that, what am I interested in? right? What am I interested in? Topically, what am I interested in? Well, I'm interested in putting. So now, in this follow-up series that occurs in the engagement series, we can talk about putting because we know that if they opted in for that they're interested in putting, at least at that point. Now, if they don't opt in, we're not going to talk to them about putting because they just said, in their inaction, they said, I'm just not that interested in putting. Maybe they're an excellent putter. Maybe they only care about hitting the ball long off the tee so they can make fun of their friends while they're, putting up the terrible scores, right? But if we have a specific lead magnet, then we can have a specific topical engagement series. Now, the point is, this is where the money is made, all right? This is where the money is made. Because when you know what somebody's interested in, then you have the right to ask for the order. When I know that you're interested in putting, then I can say, hey, we're running a deal on putters this week. Or, hey, I'm a golf instructor. I'm doing a special putting clinic on Saturday. Why don't you come on out? It's free, or it's $20, right? You do a tripwire style offer, right? When you know what they're interested in because they raised their hand and said, not only am I interested in this subject, but I'm paying attention to you. I opened the email, I clicked on it, I opted in, right? Then you know that they're interested in, that's when this engagement series can really do its job. And when they're in here, that's where you ask them for the money. Now, here's where this is so cool, all right? Because if you get this is what I mean by invisible selling, all right? Invisible follow-up, invisible selling. The only people that you're making offers to are people who have raised their hand and said, yes, I'm interested. Everyone else, you're not trying to sell them stuff. So you're not beating your market over the head. Right? A lot of people think, to sell, buy or die, buy or die. You've heard people saying that before, I'm sure. They got to buy or die. I either wanted to buy or get off my list. Don't say stupid crap like that. No, find out what they want and then make them an offer based on the previous action that they took. They raised their hand and said, I'm into putting. Great, sell them something on putting. If they didn't, leave them alone. Talk to them about something else. Maybe put out another report that says this simple wrist technique can add an extra 10 yards to your drive. Go over here to download the free video. They download the free video. Guess what they're interested in? Driving the ball. You can do the same thing, okay? That's why the topical lead magnet is so unbelievably important, okay? So unbelievably important. If you're a carpet cleaner, you could put out a thing on how to get rid of stains. If somebody signs up, guess what? They got a stain. If they don't, guess what? They don't. All right? You could have a thing on how to get rid of pet stains. The point is, specificity of the lead magnet is what leads to specificity of the engagement series, which is what allows you to make a specific offer in this engagement series only to people who are interested. If they're not, you wait until they are. All right? If they're not, you wait until they are. If you're married, you know this. There are times when you can ask your spouse about stuff, and there's times when you don't. Right? I've been married for 12 years. I know firsthand there are times I'm going to ask my wife, hey, can I go out with the guys? And there are times when I am not. Same thing here. When they raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in that particular subject, that's when you're allowed to sell them. If they haven't yet raised their hand and said that they're interested, then you shouldn't sell them. The chance of them saying no is gigantic. And once they've said no once, make no mistake, the chance of them coming back and saying yes later on has been dramatically reduced because they just said no. And human beings don't change their minds very often because we don't like to admit that we were wrong. If you got that point, then you understood a lot about invisible selling and why this works so well. If you didn't, you might want to pause, rewind, and watch what I just said again. All right. Now, people ask, how long should this engagement series be? How long should it be? And the answer is it depends on the price of the thing that you're trying to sell. If this engagement series is trying to sell somebody on a tripwire, then really 3-5 days, that's plenty. 3 to 5 days of follow-up trying to get them to buy the thing that, trying to get them to buy the thing they already expressed interest in. If it's a low dollar offer, an impulse buy, right? That's that tripwire, an impulse buy. $20 or less usually. 3 to 5 days, if they haven't bought it, they're just not interested in it. Move on. Talk to them about something else. We want to avoid super long email series that just go on and on and on and on and on. Right? It's like hanging out with a pilot. They're like, enough about me. What do you think about airplanes, right? We're not going to do that. We're not going to keep talking to them about stuff if they haven't said, yeah, this is great. I'm actually digging on this. Now, if it's a really expensive item, if you're having somebody sign up and you're in an enterprise selling thing, the engagement series might have a whole lot of value and education built into the front end. We have, for example, an engagement series that's called the mini class launch. All right? It's a mini class launch. It's a 21-day series. But it's designed to sell very high-ticket, profit maximizer type offers. right? Profit maximizer, slack adjuster, these are terms that should be familiar to you if you watched the previous lesson, right? Type offers, 21 days. We don't really have, I don't like speaking in absolutes, right? But to my knowledge, we don't have a single engagement series that's longer than 30 days, okay? Not a single engagement series that's longer than 30 days, and most of them are 3 to 7 days, okay? Most of them are 3 to 7 days. Now, if you're wondering what happens to them if they don't buy, I'll show you in just a second. Better question is, what happens to them if they do? That's the most important thing, because if they do buy, they're going to go into this thing over here called an Ascension series, which I'll get into in just a second. First, though, I want to show you an example of an engagement series. All right, I want to show you an example of engagement series that you can use in just about any business. We call it the Gain, Logic, Fear. It's a 3-part email series that is very, very, very simple. Okay, Gain, Logic, Fear, 3-part email series that touches on the only 3 reasons that people buy. They buy for personal gain. They buy because logically they have determined that they need it and that your solution is the best. That, by the way, is the least effective. And then the third reason is they buy out of fear. Fear of loss because a price is about to go up or something's about to close, something like that. So I'm going to go through this 3-part email series. These are great for selling tripwire offers. Really, really good for selling low dollar offers. All right, so the subject line, pretty simple. It can kind of be whatever. Just, did you see this? Yep, it works. You can put anything you want really as a subject line for the Gain series. Now notice that in this series, we are acknowledging the previous action that they took. Okay, so the only reason they would be receiving this message is if they had just opted in for a lead magnet. That's how they got into the engagement series. So we're going to acknowledge that. Yesterday, you requested what the lead magnet is. And I just wanted to check back in and see if you've had a chance to read it or watch it yet. More importantly, I want to make sure you saw this. Boom, link to the sales page. If you're really serious about whatever their known desired end result is, now here's the crucial thing. Their known desired end result, that's also known as their after. Their after. You can pull that from the statement of value that you created, right? Remember the statement of value that you did where you put in their after? If you're really serious about insert the after part from the statement of value, then this is the ideal first step, right? Not only does it work at only whatever the price is, it's the tiniest investment you can make and still have a realistic expectation for results. Get it while you can. The price isn't going to be available too much longer. This is all about gain, right? You already took this action, right? You already requested. That tells me that you're interested in this. You know and I know that you want this desired end result. If you do, you need to click here and go get this thing. Got it? That's gain. Pretty simple. So that's the initial follow-up series. That should go out, a day after they sign up for that lead magnet. Now here's logic, right? Logic. Call me crazy, but, really, these subject lines seem silly, but they have been proven to work. I highly suggest that you at least test them. All right, call me crazy, but I'm a little surprised you still haven't taken me up on this link. Now, if you want to soften that, because maybe that's a little rough around the edges for you, feel free to do that. If you really want to, again, insert known desired end result. Now check this out. And I'm guessing you do, or you wouldn't have even visited my site. Right? I'm guessing you do or you wouldn't be receiving this mail. Guessing you do or you wouldn't have signed up for that lead magnet. Right? Again, I know that you want it. You know that I know that you want it. So come on, let's just do this thing. Right? That's basically what we're saying here. Remember, not only will it get you whatever the benefit is, it'll also give you the momentum you need to, again, achieve your desired end result. We're always going back to that desired end result. We're always speaking to their after. We're always speaking to their after. That's why we started there. If you don't know the desired end result that someone truly, truly wants, if you don't know what their ideal after is, you can't speak to any of this stuff. That's why it's crucial. It's essential. You have to know that. That's why we started there. All right? Do it now before it gets lost in the shuffle of life. Talk soon, and then your name. Again, pretty simple. We're just making a logical appeal. Logically, you should have done this because you've already taken these steps. Got it? Pretty simple follow-up series. Now, in email number 3 with fear, this is where we're gonna kind of turn the screws just a little bit, right? This is where we're gonna turn up the heat just a little bit. Now, there's 2 ways that you can deploy fear. One of them is through actual scarcity, and the other is through a perceived scarcity that I'm gonna show you in just a little bit. So if you have actual scarcity, right? So telling them, last chance, bad news, you're about to miss out. Telling them, yep, this is pretty much your last chance to get this at this price because on this date, it's going up. Now, if that's actually happening, so let's go back to our golf instructor. Hey, this is your last chance to sign up for my free putting clinic. It's on Saturday, and if you wait, you're gonna miss it. Now, that's not being salesy or hypey. It's happening on Saturday. On Sunday, it will be over. That's not hyperbole, that's called a calendar. It's how they work. The earth keeps spinning. You can't stop that from happening, right? And if you can, don't. That would be a jerk move. The rest of us would really get cold or hot either way. It wouldn't be good. So if you're the golf instructor, right, you could say that. You're about to miss out. Last chance. Yep, this is pretty much your last chance, to get into my putting clinic that's happening this Saturday. Link for more information. On Sunday, it's going to be gone. I don't normally do putting clinics like this for the public. I only take a select number of clients. So if you want to get in and see what we're all about, you need to go now, right? That's real legitimate scarcity, and that will work. Tragically, we as human beings are procrastinators, and we will take a long time to make a decision about stuff, even if it's a decision that we want. Because in a given day, how many decisions are you required to make? It's a ton. We just get decision fatigue, right? So even simple decisions that we want, we will put off making that decision if we can. This is why email number 3 is so critical. This is why the vast majority of your actual sales will occur on this email, typically 60 to 70%, if you can believe that. Now, let's say you don't have scarcity. Let's say you do this putting clinic all the time. Let's say you're selling something that's always available. Well, instead, you deploy what I call the passive-aggressive girlfriend technique. So what you do here is you say, this is it. I'm done talking to you about this. For the last few days, I've been encouraging you to get in while you can, but now time is up. After today, you won't hear me talking about this any longer. Now, the funny thing is, for a lot of people, that's exactly what they want. They weren't interested. They don't want you to talk about it anymore. So for them, this is good news. But what's amazing about this is when you tell somebody, look, do you want it or not? I'm done asking you about this, right? I'm done talking, and you're not being like weird or creepy or anything. You're just saying, okay, after today, I'm done talking about this. You're subtly telling them, if they want it, okay, I need to go ahead and do this now, because if I wait, I'm going to forget, and they're not going to remind me anymore. So I better go ahead and do it now. That's what's happening here. Now, oddly enough, we're not deploying any actual scarcity here. We're not saying, look, get it now or it's going away. We're saying, get it now or you'll forget, and I'm not going to remind you, right? This is the type of thing I do to my children, right? Go make your bed now. I'm sick of telling you to do it. If you don't go make your bed now, and your mom sees it, you're going to be in big trouble, and I'm not going to ask you anymore. Okay, I'll go do it now, right? Pretty simple. It's all that we're doing here, right? It's all that we're doing here. It's still the fear of loss. If you don't do it now, there's a really good chance that you're going to miss out. This is the fear. Now, when you pack these into one another, you want to talk about doubling your sales? God, forget that. This can do a whole lot more than doubling your sales. This one 3-part email series alone, without anything else that I've talked about, has been known to triple and quadruple sales. Let me show you an example. This is Rich Thurman. He's a student of ours and one of our certified partners and a machine owner, which I'll tell you about in just a second. And Rich owns a shoe store in Chandler, Arizona. And so this is Rich and his shoe store. Now check this out. So Rich posted this up to a Facebook group that we're all members of, and he was showing how he used this Gain Logic Fear campaign. So he's like, check it out. Ran a simple Gain Logic Fear campaign to drive traffic to my shoe store. It generated $12,000 in sales for the 4 VIP days that we invited customers to. In the thread is a pic of me in the campaign that I used to run it. So, here, look, he's got this shoe store. And what he was basically saying is this is the off season. A normal day is $200, and he was able to pull $4,000. Now, that's not doubling. That's more. It's like 20x or something. I don't math good today. You get what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying that this is typical. This isn't typical. This is absolutely abnormally awesome, which is why I'm showing it to you. But it's cool, right? And it's a shoe store. So I don't want you to think that, that Gain Logic Fear thing only works if you have a web-based business. No, instead of telling them, go to this web page, you can say, come into our store. You just change the mechanism of the call to action. Another type of engagement series that I want to tell you about is really simple. My business partner is truly a disgusting human being. And I think I might have talked about this before, but basically he's a nail biter. So he's sitting there chewing on his nails one day. I'm like, dude, you've got to do something about that. You're really grossing me out. Stop biting your nails. So he went and he Googled, how to stop biting your nails. And he came across this site. They've got a lead magnet. It's not a great one, but at least they were doing it. Now, what was cool is he opted in and he didn't buy. He did exactly what most of your prospects and customers are going to do. They're going to opt in and then promptly not buy. That's what he did. He opted in, he didn't buy. What was interesting, though, is the next day, he received an email. And the email was pretty interesting. The subject line was, "Are you still biting your nails?" Question mark. That was it. "You still biting your nails?" And the email was not too dissimilar from basically the Gain email. "Hey, you're here because you opted in for this thing. I'm guessing you're a nail biter. I was too. So we've got this nail biting solution. You should come and buy it and you'll stop biting your nails." Right? So not a particularly amazing email from a body copy perspective, but the "Are you still biting your nails?" we thought was interesting. Then it got more interesting. 3 days later, he got another email. So good follow-up. They're doing great automated follow-up. You know what the subject line was? "You still biting your nails?" They literally sent the exact same email 2 days later. Then on the 7th day, same thing. "You still biting your nails?" Then once a week for I don't know how long, because eventually he just bought the thing. "Are you still biting your nails? Are you still biting?" They literally sent the exact same email every week. Now, I'm not suggesting that. There are more subtle ways to deploy a campaign like this. We actually call this the "Are you still, have you yet" campaign. And there are more subtle ways to deploy it than what you're seeing here, but at least they were following up. And what was interesting is when he first opted in, the pain wasn't severe enough for him to want to do something about it. But then one day, probably many weeks later, he's sitting there gnawing on his nails. He's chewed them down to the cuticles. They're probably bleeding. And this "You still biting your nails" shows up in his inbox. He's like, "All right, I give. You win." Right? Now, he needed it. He needed this product. He absolutely needed it. And he wanted it. But he wasn't ready. And had they stopped the follow-up, he probably never would have bought. But good on them, they didn't. Now, again, you can come up with something that's a little more subtle than sending the exact same email every single time. So I'm going to give you some variations. But the reason this works is that no one likes to feel stuck. All right, no one likes to feel stuck. And when you say to someone, "Hey, are you still doing this?" you're subtly reminding them that I've got this problem and it hasn't fixed yet. So let's go back to our friend, right? Our friend, the golf instructor. You can follow up after this and say, "Hey, are you still shooting 3 putts? Still having 3 putts on the green? You still over 100? Most of the time that's have you taken care of those 3 putts yet?" Right? That type of thing where if they didn't come, maybe we went and Gain Logic Fear to try to get them in, then we follow up and what we call campaign stack. We stack an "Are you still, have you yet" campaign on saying, "Hey, you still hitting 3 putts? If so, unfortunately you missed my group clinic, but if you'd like to have a conversation about a private lesson, I'd love to help you out." Right? We're still in the same vein, still the same desired end result, just changing up the mechanism. Right? That's what we can do when we have one of these things. Now, another variation from the "Are you still" is the "Have you yet?" So have you lost those 10 pounds yet? Have you broke 90 yet? Have you stopped hitting 3 putts yet? Did you run that marathon yet? Have you finished your funnel yet? Or even a dentist. Have you whitened your teeth yet? Maybe somebody called in about a special deal you had going on teeth whitening, but then they didn't take you up on it. Follow up with them. Have you whitened your teeth yet? You still have that funky yellow smile. Don't actually send that. That would be mean. But you get the idea, right? You're subtly reminding them that they are stuck and then strategically reminding them that you can get them unstuck. That's how the "Are you still, have you yet" campaign works. And it's a brilliant engagement series, especially when stacked on top of a Gain Logic Fear. So here's one thing that you could do. Let me give you an example kind of engagement series. This one's a little bit longer than we normally do, but I want to give you an example. So day 1, they opt in for the lead magnet, send a lead magnet, tell them thank you, right? If they're brand new, send them your indoctrination series. Day 2, they get email number 1, which is that Gain email. Day 3, they get Logic. Day 4, they're going to get Fear. And then maybe you take a couple of days off and you send out an "Are you still" variation. And then you could take another week, send out a "Have you yet" variation, and the next week send out another variation of it. Right? Offering them the same thing, different things, it doesn't matter. As long as it's the same desired end result, as long as it's still topically relevant to the lead magnet that got them into the engagement series, it's fine. So there's a model for a sample 21-day engagement series. And for the most part, it's about as long as I would go unless you're selling something real expensive. Okay? So what if it works? What if it all works, the engagement series does its job, and they buy? Right? So they come on through, the engagement series does its job, and then boom, yep, they bought. Now we're going to put them in this Ascension series. And the Ascension series, as the name would suggest, is designed to ascend them from a buyer into a multi-buyer, right? From a buyer into a multi-buyer. This is actually where, remember we talked about before, a lot of your profit maximizers can be sold, right? So we're getting them to come back and buy more often, But what are you going to get them to come back and buy? That's why we talked about profit maximizers before. Having in place not just for immediate upsells, but for post-sale follow-up in your Ascension series. All right? This is also where you establish a value loop. So check this out. So somebody comes in, the engagement series does its job and they buy. Right? Now the Ascension series is going to try to get them to buy again. So if they buy, then guess what happens? They go back into an engagement series and they go around and around and around, because if they're continuing to buy from you, what that means is that you're offering value in their eyes over and above what you're charging. So you shouldn't fear the idea of continuing to make sales. As long as what you are offering them is more valuable than what you're charging, then you're being valuable. And that's how this value loop gets created. That's how they just stay in this Ascension. Now, the important thing is it doesn't need to be your product. So you can sell other people's products as an affiliate or a joint venture partner. So don't feel like, you have to go out and develop your own products. Sell them other people's stuff, right? Hey, you just bought this. Maybe you'd like this over here. So going back to the golf store example, if they buy a putter, I could come on and say, great, you bought this putter over here. Now what you should do is you should get lessons from my friend Jim. And maybe you got to deal with Jim where Jim cuts you in on a referral fee or something, right? Doesn't have to be yours. And like we talked about before, since the cost of acquisition has already been incurred, the margin is much, much, much higher. Now, interestingly enough, you can modify the Gain Logic Fear series that I showed you before to work as an Ascension series follow-up. Just instead of saying, hey, you recently opted in for this, right? You would tell them, hey, you recently bought this. So the model, the structure is exactly the same as what I just showed you. Exactly the same. Still Gain Logic Fear, still acknowledging the previous thing they did and suggesting how this next thing is the next logical step, right? It just, instead of saying, hey, you opted in for this, you're saying, you bought this, you should buy this next, okay? So Gain Logic Fear series, the model, the template that I gave you there for the engagement series will also work as an Ascension series. All right, so you kind of got a 2-for-1 there. Now, what if the Ascension series, eventually it falls out? So you try to get them to buy something, then they don't buy. You make them an offer, they don't do it. Or maybe the engagement series doesn't work either, right? So they don't buy, then what happens? So it's a no. Well, now, as you can see, they're going to come all the way down, and they're going to go into this area here, which we call the segmentation bucket. All right, the segmentation bucket. This is your general broadcast list. And it's the job of a segmentation series to get people to come over here and to get back into an engagement series. All right, to get back into an engagement series. So like I said, this is your primary broadcast list. So when someone is in an engagement series, or if they're in an Ascension series, you shouldn't be sending them email broadcasts. They've already raised their hand and said, yep, I'm interested in putting. Great, so talk to them about putting. Stop talking to them about everything else. They get moved off, they get segmented based on the interest that they've already described. Makes sense? Now, once you've tried your hand at that and they're like, you know what, I'm not that interested in putting anyway, great, they're in your segmentation list. Send them other stuff. This is choose your own adventure kind of thing. And like I said, the job of the segmentation is to segment off interested parties to get them to raise their hand and to get into an engagement series. So if you're wondering, well, how do people get into an engagement series? Well, you can either drive traffic to it, so you can advertise. Maybe you advertise on Facebook or on Google. Maybe you run a radio spot and people call in or go to your website to request a lead magnet. Well, that'll put them into an engagement series. And if they're brand new, an indoctrination series as well. But if they're already on your list, the main mechanism for putting people into an engagement series is by mailing your list, right? By mailing your list. And this is how you get to reconsummate the relationship. All right, this is how you reconsummate the relationship. So what do I mean by that? Now, a lot of people will say, wait, so if they're already on your list, how are they going to get on an engagement series? What are you going to do? Well, the answer is you're going to have them re-opt in. You're going to say, hey, great, you're on my list. We just came out with a new lead magnet. You should go and get it. And you're not just going to give it to them. You're going to ask them to re-opt in. That's how they're going to tell you that they're interested. That's how they're going to raise your hand. And the way that I like to think about that is, to me, this is date night, right? So for me, for my wife, like I said, I've been married for 12 years. Every Thursday night is date night. It is date night. I take my wife on a date. And a lot of people are like, oh, you don't have to do that. You're married. You can stop dating now. Well, I know the reason I've been happily married for 12 years is because I take my wife out on a date. We reconsummate the relationship. We go back to where it all began. Same is true with your subscribers. The way they got on your list is by opting in for a lead magnet. So when you get them to opt in for a lead magnet, again, when they go through those steps, when they reenact the scene of how you first fell in love, right, you're truly reconsummating the relationship. You're resetting their attention. So that's how all of this works. And we call it value first. So you're not selling people in your segmentation series. You're not saying them, hey, go buy this, go buy this, go buy this. No, you're saying, hey, I got something cool for you. Go get it. It's a value first strategy. Because again, the money is made in the engagement series and the ascension series. The role of the segmentation series is not to generate sales, it's not to ask for the order. The role here is to get people to segment off into an engagement series. And this, at the end of the day, is how you stay invisible. This is how you fly under the radar. This is how you actually make more money while mailing less. You might only mail your list once, maybe twice a week about a segmentation offer, right? But once somebody raised their hand and says, yep, I'm interested, now they're in an engagement series, now you're talking to them more because they've said that. They've said, I'm interested in this. If they say they're interested, then they want to hear about it more. People get annoyed and it becomes spam when you're sending them stuff they're not interested in. So send them something, say, hey, do you want more about this? When they say yes by opting in, by reconsummating, then you send them more. Now to your competitors who don't go through the trouble of opting in, who don't sign up, they're gonna wonder how the heck you're staying in business. You never make an offer. Right? And it's because it's all happening invisibly in the engagement and the ascension series. That's the magic of the machine. That's what makes this whole process work. And that's how you automate and largely have a hands-free selling system, right? All you have to do is send mails here, and then once again, everything else is automated, right? That's how it works. So let me show you an example segmentation series. We call it a BDC campaign. So let's say on Monday, I might send out a blind email. Now, a blind email is something where it's blind to the topic, right? So it doesn't mean I'm telling people to close their eyes or that I wrote it while my eyes were closed, right? You're simply saying, hey, I'm really excited about this new report that we just created. Go check it out. So you're being blind to the topic, right? You're being blind to the topic. You're simply expressing interest and excitement in the new lead magnet that you have, or the old lead magnet that you're excited about still. You're expressing interest and excitement, and you're getting them to go and get it. Now, the people that opt in, they truly are your low-hanging fruit. They're the people that are excited about it just because you're excited about it, right? They don't know anything about it. There's no reason they should be excited about it beyond the fact that you're excited about it. So what's great is, let's pick them off. There are low-hanging fruit. There are people who are really excited about us and what we're doing. So let's get them off. Let's get them gone. Let's get them in that engagement series as quickly as possible. Right? Now, the second email that would go out, again, I'm saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You could send these out whenever. Just for example, this is generally how we tend to do it at Digital Marketer. Now, on Tuesday, we're going to be direct. This is where we're now the people that are interested in the topic. So now I can come out and say, hey, I'm really excited. I just put out a new report on how to never 3-putt again. Include some videos as well. Now, if I'm subscribed to that, maybe I don't really remember who the person is that I'm receiving emails from, right? Maybe they're at the country club or something like that. Maybe I signed up for something in the past. I don't remember. I don't really care about them. The fact that they were excited about it yesterday meant nothing to me because I don't know who they are. But I did just finish a round 2 days ago, and I lost a little money lost some skins to a buddy of mine because I 3-putted and it was an easy 2-putt. So now I'm frustrated. That's first in my mind. And now this email goes out talking to how I can never 3-putt again. Well, you better believe, even if I don't know who this person is, I'm going to sign up for that. I want to know, how can I never 3-putt again? I'm topically engaged. These people are brand engaged. These people are topically engaged. See the distinction? All right, that's Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, we're going to send out content. But the content is going to be related to whatever this topic is. So I might write a blog post about a simple trick to improve your alignment in putting. So it's still related to the topic of putting, but it's not specific to the lead magnet. So again, it's a descending order of most interested and most engaged to least engaged. So these are people who are excited because you're excited. These are folks who are excited because they like the topic. These are people who don't really know yet if they should care at all, but hey, now that they see some content, now that you gave them some value first, okay, they're in. So when you send out the content, how do you get them to actually take action? How do you get them to actually go ahead and click a link and go to your page and sign up? Well, there's a couple ways that you can do it. The first thing that you could do is you can link from within the content. Okay, you can link from within the content. So maybe in the email itself, you're telling them about it, and then you link from within the content. Interlinked content is what that's known as. Pretty simple stuff, right? Good content here, link over. You can also just put an ad at the bottom of your content, all right? So you can go down there and put an ad at the bottom. This one isn't nearly as effective as interlink content. In fact, if you're gonna do either one of those, I recommend that you do both, all right? I recommend that you do both. You can also, if the email itself has a lot of content, you can have ad blocks within the content. This is what we do over at Survival Life. So we send out newsletters that are fairly long, and we'll have ads within the content. We actually move this around and move more of the ads up to the top of the fold because this is working really well. All right, so however you do it, pretty simple. But let me give you, again, go back here. So we went blind, direct, content. Then Thursday, you could take the day off, right? Let them catch up. Let them catch up, because maybe there's people who, they are your really excited, super engaged people, and they were just on vacation that day, right? Now they're gonna come back on Thursday, see all these emails from you, get really excited because they love your stuff. They're gonna open up and take action. So it gives them a breather. Now Friday and Saturday, those are both wild cards. They're wild cards. You can, if you want, keep talking about this stuff. You could take the days off. You could talk about something completely different. I'll tell you, if the engagement series that you're having the folks sign up for in these first 3 emails, if it's not performing very well, then probably in these days, you either want to take the day off or you want to talk about something completely different. You want to cleanse the palate. And then on Sunday again, take the day off, and let's come back next week and do it all over again with a different topic. That's how we get that choose your own adventure kind of thing. You know, putting. The people that are interested in putting, they signed up. They're in the putting engagement series. The people who aren't, they're still here. So next week, we could go driving. Week after, chipping. See what I'm saying? That is how they choose their own adventure. This is how the segmentation campaign works. All right, I know this has been a long one, but we are almost done. We are now coming up to the 5th and final phase, which is the re-engagement phase. All right, the re-engagement phase. So what happens if they're in your segmentation campaign, they're in your segmentation series, they're on your broadcast list, and they're just done, right? They're just done. They stop opening, they stop clicking. Heck, 60 days go by and they haven't opened or clicked on a single email. Well, you got to do something about that. Again, let's go back to our dating and relationship analogy, right? If you had, if you asked guys, if you ask a girl out on a date and she says yes, and first date goes well, and then maybe there's a second date, and then all of a sudden she isn't calling you back anymore and it's been a couple of days, well, what are you going to do? You're not just going to keep talking to her as if everything's hunky-dory. You're eventually going to want to do something to wake them up, right? Hey, what happened? So these are what we call our disengaged leads. So if they haven't opened or clicked in 60 days, then we're going to take them out of our segmentation series and put them into a re-engagement series. And we're going to put them in a re-engagement series. We want to get them to wake up. And so the goal of this really is to get them to come up and get back into either the segmentation bucket or to get back into an engagement series. We want to wake them up and say, hey, remember me? And the way that we're going to do this is not too dissimilar from how you would follow up if you went on a date with somebody a couple times and they stopped calling you back. You'd start off initially saying, hey, I haven't talked in a while, but I've got tickets to this concert. Do you want to come? Hey, I've got, a bunch of us are going to this new restaurant that just opened. Would you like to come? So you're going to start off in this re-engagement series by doing a win-back, by trying to offer them gifts. You're sending them flowers and chocolate, right? We're doing something to try to offer them a gift to get them to say, oh yeah, great, yeah, I'll do that. Sorry, I haven't heard from you in a while. Now, if that doesn't work, because they're still just not that into you, that's when we're going to get mildly passive-aggressive, right? That's when we're going to say, hey, what happened? Are you still there? Are you still alive? Thought we had some good times together. Let me know, what's going on? Same kind of thing with your re-engagement series. What's going on? I haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on? Until eventually you get to the end and you say, hey, look, if I don't hear back from you again, in the case of the series, if you don't click on this link and just show me you're live, then I'm going to assume that you have no desire to hear from me and I'm going to stop mailing you, and that's when they're going to get put into a different bucket. You just got to stop mailing them. You got to stop talking to them because they're just not that into you, or heck, maybe that email address is dead, right? But in a dating relationship, if you don't stop at some point, you're getting kind of creepy. But we'll do this. We'll follow up with people who haven't opened or clicked on an email in months, sometimes years. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not only are you getting no benefit from it, it's actually hurting you. It's actually hurting your deliverability because the different internet service providers out there, the AOLs, the Hotmails, the Gmails, they're looking at you and they're saying, this person keeps emailing this subscriber and they're not opening. Maybe it's a dead thing. Clearly they must be a spammer, right? So you got to get them off your list. You got to at least get them off your main list. At least put them on a different list somewhere else and mail them through a different account. But you got to get them off of your main list. I promise you're going to, if you do this and practice good list hygiene, you're going to get a whole lot more clicks and your deliverability is going to be a whole lot better than if you don't. All right, so don't get caught up on the idea of having a big list. That's like, the doofus that goes out and brags about, how many girls' phone numbers he got, but then didn't call any of them back, right? Don't be that person, certainly not from this perspective. All right, and that's where we want to remove the unengaged. So now that you understand how the machine works, I want to give you the email campaigns that make it run. I mean, I showed you one of them and actually how you can repurpose that into two of them. We actually have 36 different campaigns that make up the machine. 36 different campaigns. There's like 4 different campaigns in the indoctrination series, almost a dozen of them in the engagement series, over 10 in the segmentation series. I mean, you get the idea. There's a lot of them, 36 campaigns to be exact, and we call it the machine. And so if you like the concept of this, and you now understand how the different phases work, how they're structured, if you like the concept of it and you want the actual emails that we send out, so if you liked Gain Logic Fear, and that's one of the 36, if you like 35 more, kind of like that, somewhere on this page, there'll be a link where you can get access to all of the 36 turnkey, pre-written campaigns inside of the machine. And that really is how we think of it. It's the ultimate collection of pre-written, fully automated email marketing and promotional campaigns. It's 36 campaigns, over 120 emails. So literally, if you don't want to write another email ever again from scratch, you don't have to, right? We've got all of them in here, transactional mails, pretty much everything, right? Pretty much any email you could ever want to send if you want to fill a live event or get people to sign up for a webinar or respond to a sale. Any type of promotional campaign that you could ever want to know, that you could ever want more, we've got it inside of the machine. And again, there's a link on this page where you can get some more information. The really cool thing, the big announcement that I have to make, is that the machine is actually now inside of Infusionsoft. So if you're a machine owner and you have Infusionsoft, what we can actually do is we can push all 36 campaigns in the machine into a campaign builder for you. So you could log into your Infusionsoft app and literally see, okay, here's the Are You Still campaign. Here's the Don't Stand Me Up, the Faux Survey, the Gain Logic Fear. I'm going to take that one. I'm going to drop that one in here. And you build out all your sequencing so that not only do you get all the campaigns themselves, the emails themselves, but also all of the automation has been pre-built for you. And so again, there's a link on this page where you can get more information about the machine. So if you're a machine owner and an Infusionsoft owner, we can do this for you. And I'm really, really excited about this because it just takes so much of the grunt work away. Really, really great stuff. A lot of people wonder, like, does this work for all different types of businesses? Obviously, information publishers, consultants and service professionals, marketing professionals and agencies use this, physical product and e-commerce sellers. We showed you an example of a brick and mortar business owner. The point is, if your customers, if your prospects, if your leads, if they have email addresses and they will let you mail them if you have their permission, because you're using lead magnets, you're using permission-based marketing, then this will work. All right, it will absolutely, positively work. You might need to change up your response mechanism to where instead of go to this web page, it's come into our store or call this number, but you get the idea. It will absolutely, positively work. So let's go back. Let's go back and take a look at our formula that we started with. Remember, leads times the total number of customers times your margin times frequency, that's what equals your growth potential. All right, that's what equals your growth potential. And so far in Double Your Sales, I've shown you how to double all of them. We showed you how to double your leads by really optimizing your lead magnet, by coming up with an ultra specific lead magnet that people actually want. Now, the beautiful thing about this lesson that we went through this week is you learned that not only are specific lead magnets great for increasing opt-in rates and getting more leads, they're also great for finding out what the heck do they want so you know how to follow up. But still, we got you twice as many leads. I also explained the tripwire concept and how that can get you twice as many customers. We showed you through Profit Maximizers how to double your margin. And then what we just talked about this time is how to double the frequency of purchase through follow-up. Doubling the frequency of purchase through follow-up, through engagement, topic-based engagement series, through Ascension, through taking people through a re-engagement series and waking them up saying, hey, remember me? And them saying, oh yeah, I do. Sorry, my bad, I'm back, right? That's how you can at least double. And when you put all these things together, your growth potential becomes 16. Remember, I told you that we would get there. I told you from the beginning that I could take you to a 16x growth potential. Now, I'm not saying that your business is going to increase by 16 times, but you can see now through everything that you've learned here how a potential of 16 is possible and how doubling and maybe even tripling can become downright fall off log simple. And so it's exactly what I want you to do right now, all right? So your action item, I've given you the knowledge and the insight on how to go and set one of these things up, but if you just want it all done for you, written for you, get one of these machines. Get one of these machines, get a whole lot more frequency, and out of everything that I've shown you, out of everything that you've seen, between doubling your leads and tripwires and profit maximizers, nothing has the potential to double your business faster than this one right here. Nothing has the potential to double your business faster and easier than by simply following up, by simply asking people to buy more than once. So if you're not doing it, my guess is that it's not because you don't think you should. You know you should follow up. Everybody knows that they should follow up. My guess is you're not doing it either because there might be technology considerations, although thanks to solutions like Infusionsoft, the technology has gotten a whole lot simpler. Typically the thing that holds people back from following up is they don't know what to say. They don't know how. So I've given you not only a structure for how to follow up, but I'm also offering you the content, the copy itself for how to follow up. So go ahead, do that. Get one of these machines. I really hope that you use it and deploy it. More than anything, I hope you deploy any of this stuff to double your business. And if you do, comment, tell us about it. Let us know. We want to highlight you. We want to celebrate your success because that's what we're all about at Digital Marketer. We're all about doubling the size of 10,000 businesses. And my hope is that by doing this class, by you going through this, that yours is one of them. If it is, please, please, please let us know. So with that, again, my name is Ryan Deiss. Thank you so much for your time and attention in this class. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot out of it. And I'll see you in the next one.